There's a common belief in the rescue world that when a working dog doesn't make it, they're often just discarded at the shelter. Scooby kind of looks like proof of that. Scooby is a Belgian Malinois German Shepherd mix that was adopted by one of you guys, the viewers. And we don't really know his full story, but we do know what the rescue told us. So here's what they said. Scooby was apparently bred for police work, and early on in his training, he suffered a catastrophic injury, snapping his left front leg all the way through. This was an injury that was going to require a surgery costing $10,000 plus just to save this dog. At some point after the injury, Scooby ended up in the shelter, where he was then picked up by a rescue and sponsored by Purdue University, who reconstructed his leg, essentially saving his life. And after months of kennel rest and rehab and medication, something that is really, really hard for a purpose-bred working dog, Scooby was ultimately adopted by a really awesome family. He was given a second chance. I've worked with multiple working dog breeders, and reputable ones at that, and something about this story just doesn't quite sit right with me. Scooby's story raises a lot more questions than answers. And if we're going to talk honestly about working dogs, breeders, and rescues, we need to understand how this could actually happen. And for that, we're going to need to talk to somebody who's been in this world a whole lot longer than I have.
We're gonna have to restart this, okay? Because I wasn't ready for a ride on. I thought we were gonna talk for a little bit. All right. So start over.
You want me to get you some background on Scooby first? I know you just went
Yeah,
through a
yeah,
lot with your
yeah. Give me
facility.
so like talk to me. What's up with him? Because I know you briefly said something, but give me talk to me about him. What's up?
For sure. So the story that I got with this dog is essentially he was apparently being trained to be a police dog. He snapped his leg pretty catastrophically, like I think, through and through both leg bones there.
Mm-hmm.
He ultimately washed out, ended up in a shelter, and then Purdue University ended up, I guess, kind of sponsoring him to do the surgery because it was like a $10,000 surgery. And then he ended up getting rehomed with one of my viewers here on YouTube, and he reached out to me to train the dog just for, family obedience, stuff like that. So when I heard this story, I have like weird red flags going off all over the place because I don't think a department would do that. I don't know. That's not my world, but that is your world. So
Right.
I figured I'd get some insight and share that story with you and see what you think about it.
So the dog was bought by a department, got hurt. They discarded the dog into a shelter.
See, that's what I don't know. I don't think he ever made it to a department or not, but I mean, would a department ever do that? Could you ever see that happening?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I didn't think so. I mean, that just seems like
No,
totally off the wall.
like maybe the vendor would
Okay.
do that, depending on which vendor. I mean, unfortunately, there's some shady practices out there from vendors, which is
Mm-hmm.
true and it's no secret. Um, but a department would definitely not do that. A department, if the dog made it to a department and got hurt, um, either they would evaluate whether he would be fit for duty after surgery. I'm assuming a $10,000 surgery would probably could put the dog back fit for duty, depending on the extent. When we talk about a leg, little bones here and there. I mean, the recommendations from the vet mean a lot in that sense of like, hey, he can go back to working life or
Mm-hmm.
not. But as far as discarding the dog, no, that that's not normal practice from a department. First of all, they wouldn't do it. Second of all, they wouldn't even want that type of attention media wise, right?
That's what
Like,
I was
oh, a
thinking.
department discarded at the like they
That's a
wouldn't take that
horrible,
chance.
horrible look.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
there's already so
They
many
would that
people.
they would definitely would not take that chance if you want to look at it in a political way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, as far as the dog making it to the department, I highly doubt it. Um, it could have been a vendor. It could have been the story could have been made up by somebody. You
Yeah.
know.
There's a lot of
Um,
every rescue dog has
I
some
mean, if,
crazy
well, if
story.
you think about it, like you get all these backyard breeders, like, oh, his father was a police canine, and
Hmm.
this and that, and in reality, like 90% of police dogs are not allowed to be bred.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. And this dog, he's like the nicest family dog ever. Like I just, with my limited experience being around and seeing those types of dogs, like I don't see it in him, and if I don't see it, I can't imagine someone like yourself would, right?
yeah,
So I mean, that brings me to you are a police dog vendor, is that correct? You supply police dogs, train, you
I
were a handler. So tell me about your background and your experience as far as this. So the viewer knows, other than you're Tommy's breeder. Surprise, guys, he's Tommy's breeder.
right, I'll
You know,
give you a quick snapshot, right?
yeah.
So, I was born into working dogs. My mom started in '74. I wasn't even born then. I was born in '84, so obviously 10 years later, after my mom's already been in working dogs. I grew up, you know, around real man eaters, around real nasty dogs. Um, by the time I was 16, I had my first litter of Malinois. And then, the rest is history. I did French training, MBBK. I was actually the first MBBK decoy in Puerto Rico in 2000 to get my first certification. Um, and yeah, I've been in sports and working dogs my whole life. Got I have a breeding program, pretty successful breeding program. Uh, I have my own uh, facilities out here in Georgia, and we do police dogs, we do personal protection dogs, we do sport dogs, we do you know pet dog training, we pretty much everything other than hunting.
We do a little bit of
um,
that over here, but
however, we've trained a couple of Malinois for blood trailing for deer hunting. So
yeah.
there you go. But as far as bird dogs and stuff like that, I don't. That's your realm.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, now that I got Tommy, I don't I hardly even mess with the bird dogs anymore because I just love working with him so much. I mean, that's how this entire channel came about. I did a video on, when I went and picked him up out at Stronghold. I
right.
mean, dude, that video got like 100,000 views almost, I think, at this point. So it just,
Really.
it took off. People love seeing it. But anyways, back on track here. So, I mean, that's quite a bit of experience as far as the working dog, as far as the police dog goes. So I think, um, kind of the point of this video that I'm doing and the point of this interview is that. So say Scooby's thing, say it is just somebody telling a story at a rescue,
Right.
which, as we know, is the case 99% of the time. Every single rescue dog was abused. Every dog was
Yeah.
dumped.
Yeah.
It's never just,
There has to be a sub story so that way people find pity and adopt these dogs and
for sure. And it gives good breeders like yourself, and I mean, even just the whole police dog thing as a whole, a bad look because those stories get told, right?
right.
So when a dog is bred for, we'll just stick with police work because that was the story here. I know we do like
Okay.
Tommy's, sport dog. What does that pipeline actually look like? From the time you whelp a puppy to the time they're hitting the street, what does that pipeline look like? I know there's a few different avenues between like green dogs and things like that, but
Yeah, there is. Like for us, our program's pretty unique because everything is organic. We don't import dogs for police departments. We have our own breeding program, our own raising program. So we don't like buy green dogs from Europe and bring them and then flip them or sell them to departments. Everything that we sell to departments, which we don't have a big number because we're a firm believer on quality versus quantity.
mhm.
Like we can have maybe on hand 7 to 8 green dogs at a time, and that's it. Other vendors out there obviously have up numbers of like 50 to almost 100 dogs.
Mhm.
Um, And obviously, with that quantity of dogs, the quality, it's a hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
However, not knocking it, obviously, what may work for one department and may not work for the other, which I've had that happen before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had dogs that I've sold that they were a little too strong for the handler that they had, and got returned. They got actually took a little softer dog, and that dog went to another department who was perfect because it was an experienced handler
Mm-hmm.
who's dealt with strong dogs and stuff like that. So
Right.
it's everything is very subjective when it comes to to selecting dogs for police work. However, our process is a little different. Obviously, we do the breeding here, we do the whelping here, we do the racing here. And then once they hit about 10 months, we start, you know, contacting, departments and stuff like that and offering. They usually don't leave here till about 13 to 14 months.
Right.
Um, because at a year we do X-rays and embark, and well, we do embark very young, but at a year we do X-rays, and then from there, they get we do prelims, and then they get showcased. We keep what we think is going to be best fitted for police work. Um, and again, our program's a little different. We don't only look for drives and civility; we also look for stability mentally, because these police dogs, for the most part, the vast majority of them, they go home with their families
Mm-hmm.
and their handler. And some of these handlers have kids, cats, you name it. Um, and I just, for me, that's very important. A stable dog. Um, exactly process for a typical vendor, they usually either fly to Europe or have already a contact out there in Europe, that they trust to go through the selection process
Mm-hmm.
before they buy the dog. A lot of vendors fly out to either Belgium or, you know, Holland, and they go to a kennel and they select, a couple young dogs or whatever, bring them back.
Are these like 6 month old dogs? Is that because that's the rule now, isn't it? Are they going for the 10 to?
No, so usually green dogs, if it's anything under 10 months, it has to be like an absolute phenomenon. For
Okay.
the most part, they're older than 10 months,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere from 10 months to about 15 months.
Mm-hmm.
No department out there really wants a dog that's older than 26 months.
So for these guys,
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
they'll import them. They'll do a little tweak here and there, teach a little bit of stuff on the dogs, and then they basically sell them forward to departments.
Right.
Some vendors, some departments want a total green dog where they can do the training and they can do the imprinting and they can do all that. Some departments want to buy dogs that are already imprinted, whether it's explosives or narcotics, and also with some bite work foundation, and some tracking. But again, that's all department dependent.
Mm. So at this, these dogs that are imported, then I understand that's kind of different than entirely different than what you do.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, are we still like a pretty high washout risk at that point, or are they basically like, if they're importing a dog, there's 90% chance that it's going on the street?
I would say 90. That's a pretty high number, but I would say about 70% they'll get put on the streets. Um, Again, subjective, right? What's
Mm-hmm.
a washout for one department, it could be a perfect dog for another, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. It really depends on the capabilities of the handler and the knowledge. You don't know what you don't know, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
get a dog that's super high drive and it's a little testy, it might be a little too much for a novice handler, but it might be perfect for, I don't know, a SWAT team or a handler that's already had on his second dog or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it sounds like, I mean, once one of these dogs are bred, or imported, whatever the specific pathway is for the vendor, there's kind of a lot of options for them to go. Like if they're a viable police dog, it sounds like there's probably a department or a handler that can take that dog. And then if not, there's sport, and then at the bottom of the list there, you're looking at like family pet dog. Is that correct?
I mean, some of these dogs, if they wash out, it depends on the reason why. And also, extremely important, depends who is washing out these dogs.
Right. Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people think they know more than what they actually do.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up washing a dog. And I've seen it multiple times. I've actually had a few come here and get turned around, get proper foundation, and overcome those issues. So
Mm-hmm.
it depends who's washing them out. But a police dog can get washed out for something as simple as not wanting to go up, some open stairwells.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean the dog's not good. It means the dog doesn't want to go up open stairwells.
Yeah.
So they're not going to take the risk or the chance of the dog not performing in the line of duty. Lives are at stake. But that doesn't mean that dog can be a phenomenal field dog, like a sport dog, or even a family protection dog if it's social and stable enough.
Right. There's not a lot of open stairs on the
No.
ring field. Maybe they should add
Now,
that. I don't know.
would that be a dog? Would that be a dog that I would use for breeding? Not necessarily, because you're seeing some genetic issues, right?
Mhm.
Environmentally.
Right.
But as far as sport, and again, I say that very cautiously because they could never been exposed to open stairwells.
Mhm.
So you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But if you teach the dog to go up open stairwells and do it the right way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very subjective too, as
Right.
far as washout rate goes.
So in the context of like Scooby that we were talking about,
Right.
That's obviously catastrophic injury.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing that kind of stuff happen with young dogs? I mean, it doesn't. I don't see, I mean, Tommy's 5 months old now. I don't see anything that I'm doing with him that could potentially snap his leg in half. I mean, everything's pretty controlled. So, and I think that's apparently the timeline for Scooby is somewhere between 6 months and a year old. This happened. Do you see those kinds of things happen a lot? And if so, what happens to the dog? Do you pay for the surgery? Do you, is there, I mean, if it's bad enough, are you euthanizing? I mean, I don't know, that might be kind of a hard question, but.
Well, it's not really a hard question. I mean, if the dog belongs to a department already
Mm.
and the dog gets hurt, the department pays for the dog, for the most part. Um, and then the vet will decide whether it's deemed, fit for duty or not.
Mm.
If it's not, usually the handler gets the opportunity to adopt that dog.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, they'll find somebody to adopt them. Definitely would never go to a shelter. Um, as far as if the dog got hurt during being raised by the vendor or
Mm-hmm.
in that transition from coming from Europe to here, and then the dog got hurt. Then I can't speak on other people's ethics.
For sure.
I can speak on mine. I mean, I rehabilitate the dog and I'll sell him for a different purpose that doesn't require him, a the hard work that it does for police work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it could be, you could go to a family. It can still do family protection stuff. The dog doesn't, depending on the injury, of course.
Mm-hmm.
A leg. I don't know if the dog was on a cast. Does he have pins or anything? But that doesn't mean
He's
that he
got,
couldn't be a good protection dog at home.
yeah, he's titanium all the way
Yeah.
through.
So
Yeah.
you know, rehabilitate him and
Mm-hmm.
train him, uh, and get him used to being in a family if he's level headed enough to be around kids.
Mm-hmm.
As far as sport goes, not with a leg like that. I wouldn't do sports with him. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but
So would it be like, um, obviously this not, if this story is even true, this is obviously something that you wouldn't have
right.
done. But there are people out there that are, claiming to be a guy like you are, right? And I imagine the ratio is probably like pretty high. There's probably only like a couple of you, and there's probably a lot of people that claim to be doing that. So, but in the rescue community, there's just like this narrative that every washout, gets dumped at a shelter, euthanized. Like, the dog couldn't walk on slick floors, so they dumped him at a shelter. Like, I hear that kind of stuff all the time on the internet.
That's not true.
Yeah, it doesn't seem true to me. Would a department even, if they found out that a vendor was like putting washouts in the shelter, would a department even work with someone like that, or do they care?
Um, More than likely, they would not work with a person like that. And again, let's put ethics to the side.
Hmm.
Just think politically.
For sure.
If it leaks out that you are, your department is dealing with people that is putting dogs in shelters,
Hmm.
like that alone is going to ruin a department and create drama that they don't want or need.
Yeah, a lot of scrutiny already. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just with working dogs in general. I mean, I'm sure you see it on your social media. People are like, why are you making that dog do that? There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that kind of crap going around. So, well, awesome. Let me see here. I think I maybe had one more question for you.
Okay.
I think you kind of answered it though. So I was basically just going to ask you, where do you think the responsibility actually breaks down with Scooby's story? But I think we've covered that pretty in depth. I mean, there's no way this is the department. It's probably at least a 50% chance this entire thing is made up. And other than that, it's got to just be some backyard breeder claiming to be a police dog vendor. This person may or may not have ever supplied a dog to any department
Yeah,
ever.
no, it sounds good and it sells well for some people that don't know.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I appreciate it. I think I think kind of your authority on this matter can kind of help clear some of this stuff up because, like I said, we hear just all kinds of nonsense about this world. I'm just getting into the Malinois sport world, and you've been in the sport, police, military, all that stuff for such a long time. So I really appreciate your insights. Do you have anything else that you would add on this subject or about Scooby's situation or anything?
I mean, at the end of the day, they got the dog they got. So you, as a trainer, do your best and make sure that that there's a good relationship between the owners and the dog. And who cares where the dog came from? The dog's in their hands now.
Yep. That's what I told him when I picked the dog up. I was like, I don't really care where he came from. He's a family pet now, but still a compelling story and still just something interesting to dive into and maybe not expose, but just some discourse about it. But yeah, he's almost done. He's amazing, I gotta say. As far as a family dog, like I haven't seen a lot of Shepherd Malinois that are have been kenneled for 2 years in recovery, and then are just this well rounded and just good dogs. Like he's not a mess, totally stable, friendly, loves people, easy to train. Can't believe it. So yeah, I think by the time this video comes out, he should be at home, and I'm sure the owner is going to love this. So I really appreciate you making time here at 11 o'clock at night to get this interview done for me. I know you were going through some facility issues, and I'll let you get back to it.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. Here's the uncomfortable part of this conversation. Shelters and rescues are under pressure to place dogs. And sometimes that pressure can lead to stories being filled in to help dogs find homes. Now, to be clear, Scooby is an amazing dog. He has a lot of great qualities, and I believe that his owner would have fallen in love with him whether he was a former police dog or not. My issue isn't with finding dogs homes. It's with misrepresenting their history or their breed to do so. That doesn't just hurt adopters, it alienates the entire working dog community, and it isn't even necessary. Police departments do not dump dogs that are not fit for duty. They are government agencies. they are heavily scrutinized, and they have the resources to rehome a dog if it doesn't work out for whatever reason. They also wouldn't even source dogs from breeders that have a history of dumping unsuitable or injured dogs at shelters in the first place. And finally, purpose-bred working dogs that don't make the cut for police work still hold a lot of value. Sport homes, personal protection, breeding programs, scent detection. There's a lot of different things that they can still excel at. No legitimate working dog breeder is just throwing that away. So the real question is this: was Scooby actually a police dog washout? Was he from a backyard breeder claiming to be a police dog vendor? Or was this story completely fabricated just to help him find a home? Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, make sure you're subscribed. And if you need some help with your own dog, I'll have my info down in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.